Hello everyone, LA Diecast again. This is going to be a quick video. I wanted to do a little update on the adventures in customizing that we've been going through on this end. Um, I teach, so I'm off for the summer right now. I've had more time than usual. And my goal was to figure out how to customize a Hot Wheel for this summer. And we figured it out pretty well. Each week I kind of try a new process. I'm by no means an expert yet, but I wanted to share some of them that we've done. Let me move these guys out of the way so we can get a white background here. And we'll start with these two. These are just regular Hot Wheels that I drilled out the bottom rivet, and on these I didn't have the tools or the ability to actually tap the rivet post, so putting the screw back in was a problem. Now I know how to do that and I've got the right tools, but when I did these first ones I didn't. So what I ended up doing is using a vinyl screw that you can get from a computer store, and it's the same size, and I don't have the size of the screws here, but if anyone's interested, just post down below and I'll get you the name. But it's a vinyl screw, and the vinyl screw will go into the rivet post pretty well. You can see I put a little piece of glue there just to hold it in place. But if you were really just starting, those little vinyl screws are great. So all I did with this one is paint the inside. If you remember this little Mustang, this is a Mustang, right? Or is it a Camaro? No, I've confused myself. But this little car has a silver interior and I just painted it black. That's the only thing I did to this guy. And then we moved on to this guy, one of the Fast and Furious cars. And this one, all I did, you can see nothing new, is paint the interior black again. Same thing. This one, the posts, oh, this one will still come apart. Yeah, there we go. And you can see the interior. I didn't put this one back. Oh, except the interior is glued in. Okay, that doesn't do us any good. Still the original wheels on that one. There we go. Put him back together. I remember it left that one open to show what we were doing. Then we got into this group. This guy was next. And this is the first one that I tried changing the axles out on. This coloring is this blue all the way through, and then it had a stripe just on the roof. I added the stripe, or on the hood. I added the stripe on the back and the roof. I just masked that in and painted it with white. And then I did do a wheel swap on these. I put some slicks on it. And this is using the original axle and basically pounding out the mushrooming the end. And I kind of had, this car turned out fine, but I really had limited success doing it that way. And I've seen many videos online of pounding out the tips of those axles, and I just could not get it to work consistently. I kept bending the wire, and I don't think I have the right tools to do it. I just couldn't get a firm enough grip on the wire, so I switched tactics. But you can see the inside's been painted, the front headlights are painted, back's painted. I was pretty happy with this for a first go. Neat little car. Next up was this guy, and much happier with this one. This is the original paint job. I did paint in the front black there, which I felt like it needed. I changed the coloring on the front, painted the grill. It's painted headlights. It also has the slick tires. That's what I had to choose from at the time. I also painted in the back, right there, the back, I don't know what that's called, back interior piece. And then I was exploring with the tampo process on this one. So I used the water slide tampos on this, and this is a clear water slide tampo, and the black works great for that. And that worked a lot easier than I thought it did. I've figured out since then that if I cover the tampos with acrylic and paint the acrylic on, don't spray it on, but paint the acrylic on in a thicker coat, let it dry before you put it in the water, I actually get much better results than this. You'll see that on the newer cars. So kind of each car was one iteration better than the next. Next one up was, which one was next out of these? This guy. This little car, which is one of my favorites. Again, water slide tampos. The black works great. This one had a black stripe on the roof, and I wasn't happy with it. It was slightly crooked. So I decided to play with these stripes, and those are tampos. I really like the way that it came out because I got a nice black stripe. I also was happy that the tampo went around all those little curves there. And if you use the Microsol chemical paint on, it lets the tampos kind of slip into those tight little areas. But again, real happy with the way the tampos came out. You can see that red there with the see-through tampos or the clear tampo paper, clear water slide paper. That red gets that bronze tint, and that's from the paint underneath. So I learned color not so great with the see-through. We'll graduate to the white-backed tampos. But you can see it worked out pretty well. All the wheels moved, by the way. This was the first car that I played around with a new axle system, and what I ended up doing is no, I'm not going to get the parts. I'll have to do another video with the right pieces. But I used brass tubing, real small brass tubing, to make basically an axle suspension system. And then I slipped two original pieces of Hot Wheel axles. So a cut axle from the donor car. I cut that axle down and then slipped those two ends into the brass rod. So there's a brass rod sitting, or a brass tube sitting right in there. And then these two axles slide into the brass tube. And then I glued them into place. I've had a couple people tell me to crimp those pieces into place. And I can't get that to work. I played with that on the other cars you'll see in a minute. And I can't get enough force to crimp it and hold the axle. So if anybody knows a trick to that, let me know. Also played with windshield cleaner on this. There is a brand that is now escaping me, Pledge with Future Shine, and that really shined up the windshield and got rid of all the little scratches on it. But I was real happy with the suspension on this. Also, by the way, if you're playing with customizing cars, don't start with cars with really tiny areas between the axles. You'll see a car like this as opposed to this. See that tiny little area right there? See that wide area right there? Start with something like this. That tiny area is a pain. I was getting very frustrated with the trying to get that brass tubing to fit in there and sit in there and Dremel out a groove big enough for it to sit down into. So that is the next one, little AAR CUDA. The next one was this guy, another CUDA. This one I was happy with, except for the final, when I put it all together, there was one piece I didn't like. I just noticed that that tampo just flipped up when I put in the glass. I'll fix that. That tampo is supposed to be folded back under there. But this one, again, with the stripes and the tampos, again, real happy that the stripe kind of set down into those recessed areas. The interior, I did some painting on. It's probably not going to come out here in the video. I painted the rims. I was happy with that. I also figured out to put the rims in with the painted side first back in the tires. One of these, I think it's this one, I chipped, putting it back in because I kind of did it the opposite way. Happy with this, except I learned that certain tires, and it's hard to see, these are both CUDAs, both the same model. This one over here, the wheels are slightly thinner than these, and these hit the edge right there. And I tried raising it up with some washers, and I gave it enough clearance that these will turn if I force them, but they don't roll freely. And also, one of the front wheels, this one, even though it rolls, it doesn't really spin freely, and that's because I got a tiny bit of paint or glue stuck on the axle, and the axle's tightened up against the wheel. So there's that one. This was the next one. This one, what I was trying to do with it was I wanted more intricate graphics, but what I found was that the way I was doing was I was spray coating acrylic onto the tampo paper because the ink is water soluble and you have to protect it against the water. Well, that was working sorta, and the more intricate graphics, the water just ate away at them until there was nothing left. And I had a really nice intricate graphic I did in Photoshop of kind of flames wrapping all the way around it, and they were going to come from here and all the way around. Anyways, those all washed away in the water real quickly. So I went back to stripes because I knew stripes worked, and I was happy with it. I placed a black piece over this air intake, which I'm happy enough with. Again, happy with the tires. One thing I don't like about this is I'm not a car guy, and I'm finding out that that's not great with customizing, because you can see that front wheel is way too recessed. It looks kind of chintzy and flimsy. And what I need to have is some way to build up spacers in here so that I can push those wheels out. And I don't know how to do that yet. So that's coming up next. That's one of the next things to figure out. White backed tampos and casting parts and how to do spacers in the wheels. This was the last one I did, and real happy with how this one came out. Just not particularly happy with the coloring. I think it's a little boring. Again, this one was planned to have a much more intricate graphic system, and it all washed away in my decal process. But happy enough with the stripes. Getting them centered is hard. I like the black. It was originally planned to be flat black, but then I forgot that my acrylic is a gloss, and so my flat black ended up being a gloss, and it looked better as a flat black. I painted the inside a little bit, just enough so you can see it. I also added some details inside on the back that are not showing up here in camera at all. But pretty happy with that little, I think this was a Charger originally. This is a Charger, yeah, Dodge Charger. So this was originally the 2013 yellow edition. It's one of the before and after cars. So there you go. I'll line these guys back up so you can see them. And hope that helps. If you have any advice or anything you think would help, go ahead and post. I'm interested. And I've just started doing this. I have an art background, but I'm finding the engineering part of this is difficult. So I will see you all in another video, and I will post more customs when I get them. Thanks for watching.